What's good? Osiris here, stuck in the middle. Thank you for joining. Let's take a trip to Henry County, Georgia. We're going to take a trip there. There was an incident that happened at a school there that created some interesting discussion. I think discussion that we need to have. Students protest after viral video shows teen slap girl who called him a racial slur. And let's take a trip and see.
Those a male student slapping a female student after she called him the N-word. This led to a walkout at Locust Grove High School. And Channel 2's Audrey Washington is live in Henry County. Audrey, students are upset about the different punishments given to these students.
Right, and it's important to note that they believe both students were wrong, but they don't believe both students were punished equally. So they walked out of class here and protested right there inside Locust Grove High. They chanted Black Lives Matter as they walked out of classes here at Locust Grove High.
It just bothered me because I didn't stand up before, and I thought this is the perfect time for me to stand up now.
High school senior Layla Moreau helped organize the protest this week. She says it was in response to what happened in this video and what happened afterwards. A student shared the video with me on Friday. We blurred the faces of the kids involved, but in the video, you see a white female student call another black male student the N-word. Next, you see the boy walk up to the girl and slap her. Both students were disciplined, but those who protested told me they believe while both students were wrong, they were not punished equally.
She got to go to class and get her education while he had to leave for his education. He was only defending himself.
I reached out to Henry County Schools about the incident and the disciplinary allegations. A school district representative said in part, quote, "We can't share disciplinary action for students due to student privacy. Both students were disciplined based on their code of conduct infractions." The representative went on to state school leaders have been working with and listening to any students who needed to express their feelings or concerns on the matter. The school day is progressing with administrators continuing to be available for any student who needs to talk. Layla says she's been called a racial slur at the school before and wants the school district to do more.
I just want some change. I want them to, I'm just tired of the inequality in the school.
Now, we still don't know what exactly led up to the initial incident. As for what happens next, students here told me they will be setting up a special Black student organization here at the school. That's a part of the story I'm working on for Channel 2 Action News at 6. Right now, we are live here in Locust Grove, Henry County. Audrey Washington, Channel 2 Action News.
I want to show the reaction to it. I'm not going to go, after these young men and women. They're young, they're confused. That's not where I'm going to go. I'm going to go with somebody a channel I watch a lot. This is a very sad moment for me to see and to have to criticize, but it is what it is. We are here. We're in weird times where people that you might have, even though I don't agree with a lot of what Professor Black Truth says, his podcast is amazing. You can search him on YouTube. Excellent stuff. Excellent research, excellent knowledge, politics, social stuff. Agree or disagree, solid stuff. So this does not excite me to have to do. He said a white racist female at a Georgia high school called a black teenager a racial slur. The black teenager defended himself. I'm going to pause there for a second. I'm going to read that one more time. This is a grown-ass man. He said the black teenager defended himself and the school suspended him while doing nothing to her. Black children have a right to self-defense. He mentioned defense twice in one tweet. Then he says hashtag Chris Rufo effect. So a dig at critical race theory critique Christopher Rufo. Bruh, Chris Rufo ain't got nothing to do with this. You and I need to talk. The black young man, and it doesn't even matter what the race is, but the young man was called, allegedly, they bleeped it out so I couldn't hear it, allegedly the N-word. Let's just assume it's with the hard ER. It doesn't matter where it's a word, so it doesn't matter whether it is or it isn't. He was called a bad word, the nicka, but with a hard ER probably. And Professor Black Truth, I would say probably part of the talented 10th, very smart guy, grown-ass man, says that the young man was defending himself. In the video, we did not see the young lady get up. We did not see the young lady with a weapon. The only weapon she had was a word that got you in your feelings. And Professor Black Truth is saying black children have the right to self-defense? You think that's a self-defense moment? You're lost, sir. And I know growing up that's not how you were raised. I highly doubt it. That is a new phenomenon, and it's interesting that he brings in Christopher Rufo, because when you talk about who can be victim to critical race theory, it's not just certain people. This thing is not just the Pope. It's not just good-hearted people who just want to do what's right. It's also identitarians. He's a black dude, black identitarian. Black identitarians that could take, when I think in the 90s had a more positive black empowerment message. Now it went from black empowerment to, if you're called an N-word, you need to slap a girl in self-defense. That's his take. He's an elder that's an elder, respected person talking about young people and what they should and shouldn't do. Not only is he saying that it's okay that the young man did it, he's saying that he did it in self-defense, like his life was in danger. That's critical theory that's infused in Professor here. I would like to hear, Professor, your opinions from years ago to compare to now. We're all in different places. I'm in a different place. But I think the reason why I bring that up is I think critical theory, put a dash of critical theory on anything, and it turns someone into a goddamn fool. If you think, and it doesn't matter, even if the young lady was a boy, violence is never the answer. But you are a goddamn idiot if you think that video justifies, and what they told on the story justifies, a young man raising a young man to say it is a matter of self-defense to hit a girl who called you a bad name. You're a goddamn idiot. And he's not stupid. We can all fall victim to this. Man, this philosophy is so powerful. Professor Black Truth has a great podcast. He's falling victim to critical theory. And I can say that because he did the hashtag Christopher Rufo. I would have noticed it before that. But when he did the hashtag Christopher Rufo, he tried to turn the weakness of a young black man in high school, I think it was. He tried to turn that into a blame game on Christopher Rufo? What does he have to do with anything? Where is your mind at, Professor? Are you that weak that you're looking to Christopher Rufo for justification, for help, Bruh, this wasn't a good moment. We all have mistakes and we have all bad moments. I hope you clean this up, because you're looking real bad right now. Of course, the young lady should be punished. I'm not worried about her. I'm worried about the actions of the young man and how you are encouraging people to raise young men and women into this. What a sad moment. We don't raise, I didn't know this had to be said. We don't raise young men to hit young women, bruh. Period. I don't care if they're called the N-word or not. You know, the ironic thing is they're all so worried about being called a word or not. And these people, they know it's awkward because they know their position is asinine. That's the vibe I get. So they try to use these words, so they're sensitive about a white girl using the N-word. And then before this discussion even happens, this was like one of the first replies to the professor. Maurice Moe says, none of that. Let's be better than them, Negro cooning. So he's preemptively calling anyone who says let's be better than them, or that's not the words I would use, but you know, the thought that I would probably have of, wait, why are you hitting a girl again? He's preemptively calling you a name, just like the N-bomb was called from her to him. He's doing the name calling as well. And the same thing goes for me that I would recommend to that young man. I don't know you. I don't care. You're calling me a name, a coon. What is that? What is that supposed to do? Hurt my feelings, bruh? What it shows me is, you know, this is bad. And you feel some kind of obligation to take a bad take on this just so you're not called a coon by somebody else. They call that projection. He said these supremacists aren't fully human, so one must respond accordingly. So he's saying that the white girl is not human. When you think about it, that's very dark stuff. It makes you wonder, what would he condone in response? So I quote tweeted him. I said, "You're the one who wants to raise young men to think being called a bad name is violence." That's what the professor is saying. It's self-defense. You only have self-defense in the return of violence. So what the professor is saying is, the violence from the young men in striking the woman is self-defense in the violence of the woman calling him the N-word. You're the one that wants to raise young men thinking being called a bad name is violence. You're the one condoning that a young man strike a young woman. You're helping to raise the weakest mental generation of young men that the United States has ever seen. Young July, I call him Young July. Young Eric July talks about this in the realm of comic books. And he will show and say, you want to take Spider-Man and you want to make him Miles Morales, Peter Darker. I laugh every time he says it. And the reason why he says that is, you all are looking for legitimacy through changing a historically white character into a black one, or whatever other identity you want to turn them into. I know that for sure, because why wouldn't you say, I like the idea of Miles Morales, but let's make him his own thing so he stands independently. And that doesn't just go with the realm of comic books. And it happened when Eric July got into this debate with this, he called him an egg-shaped dude. This, I forgot his name. He's a big dude, so Eric July's got jokes. I don't want beef with Eric July. He'll clown you. But he got into this beef with this dude, and it was funny and all. But then some stuff came out about like how he was raised and how he was living. And you could tell Eric July was like, damn, this is more serious than I thought. And it wasn't funny anymore. Even to Eric July, it was like, man, this dude's in pain, in a bad place. When you look for legitimacy, when you're an identitarian, that means you look at whatever the identity is, if it's LGBTQ or color of your skin, whatever it is, that's your primary identity. You can always be susceptible to go down this slippery slope. Now, they're so far down the slope, they're saying that a young man should hit a young woman because he was called something. And that goes for people who are on the non-left now. There are a lot of people who, it's hard to be on the non-left and be an identitarian, but there are a lot of people, obviously, that are not Democrats, really. Maybe you could say they're leftists, that I respect, that do talk about black culture, all that. If anybody says the term black community, they're an identitarian. That doesn't even make any sense. And they can go down this route. That's what we're seeing. That's the problem that we're seeing with many. And my parents are from Jamaica, and I come to this country and I see they call themselves foundational black Americans. So they separate themselves from the black Americans who came over here later. My ancestors went through slavery as well, but that they want to separate themselves. So like Africans who come here, Jamaicans, you're not a foundational black American. And what I've seen here is the same thing that Eric July sees in the comic books. This person said, and by the way, he slapped her. He's trying to justify this. He slapped her. There was no kicking or punch. He looked like he wanted to do more, but the slap is violent enough for me. I don't know why it's not for you. And again, he's talking to me, which you tend to bypass or ignore, is that the white girl called him an N-bomb for no reason. Him out of everyone in the gym. So he should just turn the cheek and ignore? That's a grown man saying this. Of course he should turn the cheek and ignore. Are you serious? Of course he should. I said, you look for self-validation through the eyes of white people. So it hurts you emotionally when they call you a bad name. And then that emotion comes out in really bad ways that you are now justifying. You then take that mental deficiency that you have and you pass it on to your children. And that's the cycle that needs to be broken. Let me know what you think. Take care.